Act 3 of the horror movie that was Survivor 49 has finally come to a close, as we are here to cover the finale Edgic of the season and give a massive congratulations to probably the final winner of the new era of Survivor, at least of the 40s. And so, a massive congrats are, of course, in order to Savannah. Confetti, confetti, confetti. An absolutely epic win here, and an epic win for Edgic on this channel, as we had Savannah as our top contender pretty much the whole season. Didn't do so hot last season, but this time I feel like we hit the nail right on the head. Absolutely epic to see Savannah win here. And so I brought on two of my friends, Josiah and Carson, to talk about the season at large, talk about the finale, give Edgic ratings to the final five, and give a little bit of discussion about our thoughts on the Survivor 50 trailer that we saw at the end of the episode. So come on in and celebrate with us the finale of Survivor 49. All right, hello everyone. Here we are, finale time, talking it all. I'm joined by some of our fabulous guests that we've had over the course of this season. Carson and Josiah are back again to give thoughts on the finale. Welcome, guys. How you doing? How you feeling about this season of Survivor?
It was a season of Survivor.
I liked this season of Survivor personally.
Okay, well, we'll get all into it. Of course, firstly, got to give big congratulations to the winner of Survivor 49, Savannah. Good job. Big win. Congrats.
Who could have ever seen this coming?
Who could have predicted?
Dumbfounded right now.
I know. I mean, all of the Edgic. Where did we go wrong? Who knows? I suppose, we can take a look at it right now. We're going to give our thoughts on the finale, and then we'll do the Edgic after that. And then we'll talk about the season at large, the story of the season after that. And then maybe at the end we'll talk about 50 a little bit if we want to get into it. But since we're talking about Savannah, let's just look at where the contenders were. Now, I remember, before I reveal this, remember last season, I got some guff from Carson that I did not have Kyle at my number one contender going into the Final Four. And I remember you were very how what's wrong with you? This season, I got it right. It was Savannah. I had it the whole time, obviously. So I did my contender rankings for the final 4 and 3 as we went through the finale episode. I dropped Sophie down to the bottom, honestly, at the final 4. I felt like it was so clear the story was that she had failed and wasn't able to take out Savannah. Savannah won immunity, and it just felt like there's no way. Whereas Sage was getting kind of talked up a little bit more. Rizzo, I did feel like Rizzo was getting probably the 4th place edit based on the finale sense. Last season, I got tricked a little bit. Camilla got so much content at the beginning of the finale that I was like, wait, I think Camilla might actually win this thing. And then she got 4th, and so then I felt like that was what was happening with Rizzo here. So I did not fall for it. I kept Rizzo at 2nd, but I was like, well, I want to move him up a slot just in case. But he does in fact go out. And I moved Sophie back above Sage because Sage was basically completely absent after Christina was voted out for a while. So she moves back to the bottom and got it right. What do you guys think? Surprised?
I actually think you were just mentioning Sage. I think I knew she wasn't winning based on how they were editing her, but I was pretty impressed with Sage's ending of the game here. Of all of the games being presented at Final Tribal, I think hers deserves acknowledgement. I don't think she's as bad as 3rd place finishers go a lot of the time, and I would be really excited to see her again in some other type of setting. She did not deserve to win the game, but I was pretty impressed with how she handled her Final Tribal and how she handled the last few votes. But I just knew she wasn't going to win. We've known from the beginning of the season that Savannah was going to win, just based on the broadest of edits, and also because I saw spoilers on who was on Survivor 50. So I definitely had instincts throughout the season as to a couple of red friends that were probably going to go deep into this game and have a real shot at this. Which
Yes.
for me, when we're talking about the whole season of the show, really colored this season in a way that is unfortunate. Right? It was basically impossible for me to enjoy and feel tension for half of the travel councils this season because I knew Savannah and Rizzo made it deep enough that they were going to have a case to be on Survivor 50, and so right, it's my fault that I saw spoilers. I really did not intend to. But I feel like they were everywhere. If you're in an online Survivor space, they were pretty unavoidable to see that those two were going to be on 50. So if I took this season in a vacuum and I didn't know who the winner was, and I didn't know that Rizzo was also going to be going deep and going on 50, I think I would have said this is a really fun season with some tense travel councils and like good dynamics and good storylines. However, the lived experience of watching this season, knowing in many ways the outcome from the very beginning, it was just a diminished viewing experience for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I would agree. Josiah, you have something?
I hard disagree with most of what you said, but I do agree with your final statement there. This season obviously comes right off of the heels of Australia versus the world. And I know you covered that North too, and that was very broadcast from the beginning as well. I don't
Hmm.
know if there were heavy spoilers as much that Parvati won that. Spoiler
Not
for people
as
who
heavy,
haven't
but
seen
it
it.
was out there.
But it was out there, and her first episode, she got like 17 confessionals.
Hmm.
I think, though, my enjoyment of AUV The World was a lot more because it was such a condensed season. All that happened in the span of like 3, 4 weeks. But here it was dragged on, a whole typical length season. And yeah, unfortunately, I also knew Savannah had won from the very beginning. I think since like July, there was that spoiler out there. I don't know if you guys heard about the Stephanie LaGrossa Instagram live or something where she mentioned
Oh,
that there were 3 winners on 50, and so
Mm.
I didn't know
everyone
that one.
online was speculating that either Rizzo or Savannah had won. And then there was also a reveal. I think Mike Bloom officially revealed the tribe divisions for 50. And at that point, people found out that there was like D on one tribe and Kyle on the other, and then Savannah was in the middle. So at that point, a lot of online Survivor people had just glommed onto the fact that Savannah is the winner. And I
Hmm.
was hoping that this season would kind of prove those things wrong. But as it kept going and she kept getting a better and better at it, I mean, you literally had her at the top 2 contenders from the entire season.
Never once
Um,
close. Yeah.
like it just became so obvious. I don't know if I don't want to rewatch this season. I think it was horrible, but like I don't know if I would rewatch this season if I would enjoy it more knowing any of that because I feel like I watched it as a rewatch.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I said this in a video before, but I had said this before to people that it felt like this season it felt like I was watching a season that I already knew what happens. Like I'm like, oh, this is like an old season. I've already heard who the winner is and whatnot. And I haven't seen it yet, so I'll watch it even though I know what happens. Even though I didn't literally know what happens, it did feel that way. There was also the additional thing that people were saying. I mean, obviously, it's revealed now, so y'all know everything. But it was also that Savannah had allegedly replaced Marianne on the cast and taken her spot. So that was another reason why people thought it was a 1-to-1 for a winner. So there's a lot of reasons why it was heavily
Justice for
expected that this guy
Marianne.
won.
Bring back
Yeah.
Marianne.
Yeah, I mean, I love Savannah and Marianne. Marianne is not who I would have cut if we had to fit Savannah in. I guess if you only want 3 winners, but we could have cut Kyle.
I think honestly there probably should be 0 winners, but again, that's a different conversation there. So
Yeah, we'll talk
um,
about 50 in a bit.
But yeah, so I mean, it was unfortunate that I think that a lot of the season was kind of colored through that lens, but I also think that like the edit didn't didn't hide it, right? I think that even if that weren't the case, I think Savannah was still like such a clear runaway. I mean, I did have Sophie above her a few times too, and Sophie is not Rizzo or Savannah. So I mean, I think that yes, it was clear, but it was clear for multiple reasons, not just the spoilers. Whereas like with a season like if you knew that Erica was winning from episode 2, that's like a little bit more like of a shocking. How did you know that, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I also
Jordan,
just want to shout out. I want to shout out Christina. You finally got her right, North. It only took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Am I counting that right? 8 tries, and you finally got Christina.
well, to be fair, she was last on contender rankings. She wasn't like last as like next to be voted
Yeah.
That's
out.
true. That's true.
Although I did make like episode like 6, the thumbnail was like the next boot with a picture of Christina, which was not true. But yeah, I mean, Christina with just a really one of the worst finale edits. I think the second worst of the new era, maybe even the worst at this point. I don't know if Heather. I think she's above Heather, but all love. But as far as the edit goes, wasn't that surprising. I mean, in terms of my predictions from last week, mostly got it right. I did think that Sage would get second over Sophie, so that was the big shakeup. But I did lock in Christina as 5th and Rizzo's 4th and Savannah the winner. So that was pretty good. I was a little bit surprised by how the jury reacted to Sage. I felt like, she had probably like the closest friendships that we saw with a lot of people on there, which seemed to make them very hurt by her and kind of I don't know if I want to say like they were bitter, because I don't think that it was like she should have been giving more credit than she was. I thought she was going to be given more credit than she was, even if she shouldn't have been, So
I
that
don't
was
agree with
surprising to me.
that. I think she had a really bad final tribal. When Carson said you thought that Sage had a really good final tribal, I was like,
I did.
where? I don't remember any of the answers that she gave. And I don't think she approached any of the questions revealing anything that was really that big. She was relying on this fact that, like, before the game, she used to be in the military. And, like, yeah, that was surprising, but no one's going to vote, like, to win the game of Survivor based on that information.
Yeah, we saw it with
And
Eva
at
last
least
season.
I think both Savannah and Sophie addressed some of the criticisms with their game with a little bit more finesse in their answers. I think Sophie was maybe able to get another vote simply because she made the jury laugh and she seemed to have the closest personal connection to a majority of the jury. And it was clear that Sage's connection was with Jawan, and maybe that was it. And while Savannah maybe fumbled the bag, she also was able to highlight the like strategic prowess of her game in a way that made it so clear to people that even though they didn't like her, they should vote for her to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was impressive. And that was something we don't typically see. And I'm sure we're going to get there. But like, as far as Savannah having this very negative edit, which is confirmed by the fact that she doesn't know any personal information about anybody. But on that.
I want to talk briefly about my take on Sage, and then we'll talk about Savannah. My take on Sage is that I thought she was very self-aware. I think maybe her actual answers in Final Tribal Councils. I don't think she got a lot of good questions in Final Tribal Council. I think that people walked in and they were not planning on voting for Sage, but I think that her self-awareness and how she knew she was perceived and how she knew she needed to circumvent those perceptions in order to have a chance to get some votes. I think that she assessed it well. I think she just was starting behind. My idea of her having a good Final Tribal Council is not that I thought she deserved to win. It's that I thought she was down here, and then I was pretty impressed that she brought it to here. That was like my whole take.
It's certainly not the worst third place Final Council we've seen.
But yeah, shout out Christina for bringing back an actually fun final juror question. We need more of that every time we talk about, and she's so sweet and she's so kind, and yet she's willing to ask a hard question and put a final tribal, contender in a corner to try to get her agenda across. That is Survivor. That is so fun to watch. And I wouldn't be surprised if MC flipped, if that was part of MC's vote flip. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious watching Savannah kind of struggle there. and not be able to name one family member of any of these people. I know you're tired. I know you're exhausted, but you spent a lot of time with these people, and a lot of it's downtime that we don't see. You should know their partners' names. Would I struggle with that? Yeah, probably. But I am on the talking head, and you should know that, Savannah. But she won, so like, what can she complain about?
Yeah, I mean, Christina, like, still, like, I felt like Christina played the game more in that final council that we saw than like the whole season. Like, that was like actually really good game move. Like, if you don't want Savannah to win, that was a big move, you know. It didn't fully get her the loss, but it might have brought it closer than it would have been otherwise. My hot take, I saw people online. I saw like so many people being like, make such a big fuss about that you didn't know that. I'm like, I don't care at all. Like, I don't expect most of my friends to remember my family's names. These people aren't even friends. They're like coworkers at best. If anything, they're rivals, right? So it's like, why do I want to remember my rivals' families' names that I've never met? Like, I do think that, like, yes, it is Survivor and they spend a lot of time together, but like, cumulatively, I've probably spent more time in my lifetime with people than they spent on that island that I don't know the names of those people's family members, you know? So, like, I think it was a good question, and I think it was very fun, and I think it was a good point. But like for people online to be like, "How dare she?" Like she would absolutely lose my vote because of that. I like if I were a juror, I would not care at all about that. I don't care about that in real life.
I think for Christina it mattered, and as a juror, you get to decide what you take in as part of your vote. And I do think traditionally, like even thinking like really, really old seasons, this was something that mattered to people was how well do you actually know the people? This question was honestly my favorite part of the finale and my favorite question of any of the new era. You know, all of these questions, they bleed together because of their tribal format. And this was the first thing that I think I'm going to remember a year from now and be like, oh, yeah, that happened in 49. And it reminded me a little bit of two other famous final tribal council moments, maybe not as dramatic as these, but like it reminded me first of Brenda and Dawn, because that was a very clear one-on-one connection antagonistic moment in the final. And it also reminded me of Palau, where Katie decided not to answer Janu's question. I was so sure that Savannah was just going to say, I'm not going to do that. But then she did try and like really stumble on it, which was really funny. And if you remember that Palau finale, that jury lambasted Katie because she didn't know people. They were like, the only people you care about in this game are Tom and Ian, your alliance. Can you tell us anything about the rest of us? And she was like, no. And so that's a really, really old school Survivor like approach to things. And so it kind of was refreshing to see someone like Christina. I think I glitched there for a moment, but but to see someone like Christina bring that old school attitude into the new era, because again, I think a lot of people like yourself who are really about gameplay, you're like, I couldn't care less about that, but people do still care about it.
Yeah.
I think for me, the most. Oh, I was saying the juxtaposition is what stands out to me. It's Sophie mouthing the answers right next to Savannah, who can't think of them. They're both exhausted, they're both tired, but there's a clear difference in who connected with these jurors. And it was supposed to be a strength for her, and it might have won her a vote. So, would I have super cared and would it determine my vote? I agree, maybe not. But if it determines somebody else's vote, I get that. And it was a really cool moment to see her mouthing and like making fun of Savannah a little bit while she's doing that, and just selling herself to that jury. That was something that I was impressed by.
Mm-hmm. I will also argue, I don't think Savannah did that bad for someone that didn't know the answers. You know, she did at least be like, I know that you're the oldest of four. I think that's impressive to know that even. I think that's still pretty good. You know, I know, she knew Steven's spouse's name or whatever. She knew someone in Nate's family. I don't know if she said who. I mean, that's something. Like, she did know some things, even if she didn't, like, have all the names down. So, I thought she did the best she could, given that she didn't know the answer.
Yeah, I mean, she won, right? So for as much as we're, throwing stones, it doesn't matter that she didn't know the answer. She ended up getting the jury vote she needed. But I liked seeing that.
It doesn't
And
matter for 49, but I would
yeah.
say I think Savannah maybe after that question was a little shaken up and thinking, oh, my game is not as strong as I thought it was. And maybe that's just because Savannah is approaching things with a lot of confidence and sometimes like arrogance. But I think after that moment, she was a little bit shaken up in tribal. And I wouldn't be surprised knowing that she went on 50 so like few weeks after that if she is approaching 50 with a different way of like, maybe I need to get to know some of the people I'm playing with on a deeper level than I had before.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, fortunately for 50, she might already know some of this stuff about people. So. I mean,
Yeah.
if you know Jared Fields, you already got a leg up, Like, so, yeah. Any other thoughts of specific things that happened in the finale that we want to touch on here?
We have yet to talk about RIZGOD. Rizgod, baby. What an exit. Jeff calls him Rizgod. He's built for camera. I love that guy.
That was great.
And listen, is he kind of annoying? Yeah. Yeah, he is. He embraces it. He loves it. He knows he's on TV. I'm sure he's a lot more normal in real life. But I think he just played a great game. And I do think it would have been close between him and Sophie, but I think he was a fire-making challenge away from winning the game. And when you're playing Survivor, all you can do is put yourself in a position to have a shot. It's not always going to go your way. So I think he was in a position to have a shot to win that game. So was Sophie. If she'd been able to get Savannah out at 5, I think she would have had a shot to win the game. But I think Rizzo and Savannah, once it was the Final Four that was decided, were the two people that I was like, one of these people's going to win, and it's the person that wins fire making. And then it happened, and it played out, and I'll be excited to see him play again on 50 with Legends. I hope he's just as weird. I hope he's just as like charming and strategic, and him with a bunch of, big personalities that are bigger than his, even potentially in a new season, will be really interesting to watch.
I will take Jeff saying the Rizgod, the tribe has spoken, over Jeff saying, welcome to Survivor, Mr. Beast, any day of the week. I would way rather hear that on Survivor.
I think our expectations are lowering here. I still want the kind of show that I love, but whatever. As far as Rizzo goes, I don't know. Carson, I'm going to fight you on this. I did not see the gameplay, and I did not see the personality that would want me to see him again immediately. And I personally think the main reason, or at least one of the contributing reasons that he's on 50 is because Jeff loved him. Because his exit was very much pandering to Jeff's ego and was, doing everything he could so that he could try to have this, very great relationship with him and put him on the next season. And I don't like that. And he misplayed that idol so badly. And so much of this post-merge is about, is Rizzo going to play this idol? Only for him to do the weakest, most basic thing he could do, which is just play it the very last day on himself when he's never getting any votes. And I wanted to see him play it on Christina if he really wanted to keep Christina in the game. And that just didn't even seem to cross his mind. Or he could have played it last week if they hadn't, flipped Christina and Sage. Like, there are different ways he could have actually played the idol to improve his game, and he simply kept it. And that's like not a good story, which is why I'm like, 49 is not a good story for Survivor. How can so much of it be dominated by an idol that has no effect?
To say that it has no effect is not true.
I think
he just used it in a different way than other people did, and it kept him safe for a very long time. I agree, him playing it on Christina would have been epic. Like, that would have been really cool. And I had the same thought when I was watching. I was like, is he going to save her with this? And maybe that could have been a game-winning move for Rizzo, something that flashy. But also, while they were doing the fire-making challenge, they kept cutting to the jury. The jury was rooting for Rizzo. The jury wanted Rizzo to beat Savannah because they viewed them as a duo and they liked him more. So it's not just Jeff that likes Rizzo. It's the jury. It's everybody that likes Rizzo, including, plenty of viewers that I'm sure are going to be excited to see him again. But that's why I think he would have won, because they were actively like, come on, Rizzo, while he was making his fire.
Yeah, I did think that was interesting. I know, North, you sometimes read into the exit interviews, and at least Stephen last week, his exit interview
Hmm.
was very much reminding me of 41 and Tiffany and people in that jury saying, Xander, I didn't care that he had an idol. I wanted to go to the end with him. Like, I think
Hmm.
Stephen explicitly said that in his exit interview,
Yeah.
that the perception of Rizzo on that island was that he was a young kid, that he was a doofus, that he was just, hoarding this idol and just like playing it in front of everyone's face, and that he wasn't really like a strategic mastermind. Do I think he could have, shared some of those things at the end if he was there? Yeah, I think so. And I think in general, he was way, way, way more liked than Savannah was. But I think that's a lot more saying about Savannah than it is about him.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's fair.
yeah, I think that, I mean, the difference between Rizzo and Xander is that Xander, like, they never even tried to target Xander. Rizzo, they did want to target him multiple times, and it got flipped around, or things happened and he was able to kind of be more active with it. I guess I don't really remember everything of what
Wait, did
Xander
he
did.
get a vote this season?
I don't even know, but I mean, there were multiple times, there were multiple episodes where the beginning of the episode was, we all have to vote Rizzo out to flush the idol, and then by the end of the episode, they didn't do that, right? So, I mean, that's something. Uh, and,
But I want to say that happened in 41 too. I know that was years and years ago, but I
yeah,
want to say they edited the episodes around that as well. As like, oh, he has an idol and he's part of the Minority Alliance. We're going to target him. And then they just never did. And then eventually he slipped through the cracks and made it to the end.
yeah. I'm interested to see what people say in interviews postseason. I do think
Mhm.
also, like, Steven seemed to be considered like the biggest threat out there, so I can understand where Steven wouldn't care about going to the end with Rizzo. Whereas if Rizzo was at the end against two like lesser revered players like Sage and Sophie or Christina, then I think he would have stood a much better chance. Even against Savannah potentially, I think he stood a chance because obviously they liked him more. But who's to say? I I I was back and forth on it, but I reached a point that I was like, you know what? I am very excited to watch just like an absolute ORG nerd on 50 that nobody knows, no one out there that knows. It's like they just like plucked like an org guy and put him on Survivor, and he just so happened to play the previous season, but no one knows what he did. I think that's hilarious, and I can't wait to see what he does out there.
I was having this conversation earlier about the question mark around the two of them going on to 50 and how people won't know how they played and won't have gotten an opportunity to view them and if that'll be beneficial or dangerous for them. I think for Savannah, it's extremely dangerous. But I think for Rizzo, I think he will give off energy and personality, and they'll be able to connect dots that this guy was brought back for his personality. I don't think it's going to be a
Mhm.
huge disadvantage for him that he's back without them ever seeing him. And I think for that reason, it'll be good for him because they won't have seen how well he managed a lot of these, votes and conversations. And so I think he is in an advantageous spot for Survivor 50. I think Savannah's in a disadvantageous spot for Survivor 50 because they're going to meet Savannah. They'll be like, what the hell? I do not like this girl. She's kind of up front. She's kind of mean. What the hell did she do to come back from season 49? Oh, she won a ton of immunity challenges. Bye.
Yeah.
versus Rizzo is like, oh, look at this goofy guy. He's so Gen Z. He's annoying, but like I see why they brought him back. Whatever is my take.
I think Rizzo, he's not this, but he's the closest thing to like the saying of when people say they want to see like just a normal person be thrown out there to play the Olympics with all the amazing athletes. Like that's like the closest vibe I can get. That he just seems like he's like the fan that is like thrown out there on 50 with no prior connections or anything. That's gonna be like
I
figuring it
disagree
out
though
along the way.
because I think you could see clearly throughout all of this season Rizzo's experience playing
I
games
agree.
before, never to this scale, but his experience. He was not shattered and jolted in the same way that a lot of other players were. Even when he was doing fire making, you almost got this sense that he's lost a game in Final Four before. You could watch him like slipping away. He's like, "Darn!" He was not like breaking
Yeah.
down. He was calm and regulated throughout the entire thing. When he was in a minority lines, he was like, okay, been here. What did I do last time? what worked, what didn't. I'm going to do the thing that worked. Like I got that sense the whole season, and I don't want 100 Orgers on Survivor every time there's a season. I play games with Orgers. We are chaos. It is not good. But one or two that know what they're doing elevates the season as long as we balance them with a couple people who they can manipulate.
Yeah.
I don't know. We will see. I also think like he underperformed so much in all these challenges. Like he wasn't close to winning a single immunity or reward ever in the post merge. And then he's going to play 2 weeks later. He's going to be so weak. Like, is he going to be a physical liability to
Those
like
two are
just
going to be
be voted
so
out
skinny.
right off the bat?
At least with like people like Russell or Rupert, like they had a little bit more, packed on to play back to back. Like Rizzo and Savannah are going to be like bones by the end of 50. Like if they go far, like.
What do you even do if you've got 2 weeks and you know you're turning around to go play Survivor again? How do you even try to take care of your body and your mind in that in between? I'm really curious to hear that from one of the two of them because I don't want to hear it from Russell.
Yeah. I don't know. Would the strategy be to like try to pack as much on and gain it back, or is it like just stay consistent, don't eat anything, so you're still in the mode? I don't know.
We got to find out.
We'll see. One more thing I want to say about the finale before we talk about the Edgic is it may or may not be out by the time this video comes out, but I was just on the Once Upon an Island YouTube channel talking about how I thought they should bring back the rites of passage, and then this episode comes along and they basically do the rites of passage but kind of even better with flashbacks and whatnot, and I was like, well, there goes my whole thing in this unreleased video, because I love that segment. I thought that whole segment was awesome. It was, I mean, they didn't do like the walking around the torches, but like to get like the flashbacks and really revering and honoring all of the contestants that had come before them. They didn't talk about the pre-jurors either, I guess. So
nope.
that was nice. That would have been nice.
Okay,
but I do think the segments for the jurors was really good.
Sophie would have had to talk about 4 in a row.
I was just like, wait a sec, this is kind of what we've seen before, but even more than that, it's like putting the jury on this pedestal where everyone else just becomes so irrelevant. Like the fact that they have this after show instead of a real reunion where they bring those people back, like that itself is like excluding those people. And as someone who used to play a Survivor game and was in the pre-jury, I'm like, I feel bad for those folks.
Yeah.
They just get so forgotten.
Yeah. I
will never forget Nicole. I will never forget Nicole and her 2 times that she spit up on camera and then went home.
MVP of the season, for real. But I mean, like, what a huge loss for the show to, like, not have Jake at the reunion talking about his story. I mean, they gave him a segment, but like, even if some of the other pre-jurors, didn't have like big moments, you do have these pre-jurors that have like extremely significant moments on the season that like, it's just a loss for the production to not have them there. So.
Oh, absolutely. Again, like they made a point of that Secret story, but I think it would have been much more impactful if Jake was actually there. And I think what could have happened is Jeff would have asked, Jake, if this hadn't happened, would Sophie have made it to the end? And I think the clear answer is both Jake and Alex would say no. We were going to vote her out next. So, I mean, that's a big what if on this season. Like, if Sophie gets voted out in the pre-jury, like this whole season looks totally different.
Well, I mean, Jeremiah would have went anyways, and then they might have swapped. I guess I don't know if they would have had another round. Also, Jake did say in his exit interview he was very close with Sophie, even though it made it seem like he had this big bromance. So, I mean, it's a concept. But yeah,
the one-sided bromance.
that was a good plot line for the short period we got it.
I actually liked the pre-merge. I was annoyed that it was one tribe losing again and again because that happens every other season now. But it was an interesting like blue dynamic, and that's why I don't think this season was that bad. I actually liked it a lot more than 47. I liked it a little bit more than 48. And
Wait,
so
a lot more than 47? A
we don't need
lot
to get
more than 47.
And
we
What?
don't
47,
need to get
does that mean
into
that
the
47 is below 48? Oh, what are we
yes.
doing?
We
And
don't need
also
to get into
that, like,
that.
this
We
is
don't need to get into,
Carson. Your opinions are dog shit.
Oh,
oh my
boy.
god, I'm talking to the people who loved the Rachel Genevieve feud. Please, we don't need to
Oh,
get into that right now.
I didn't like that. I just like Genevieve. I didn't like the feud.
Oh,
I like the Operation Italy crew.
that was
I
the
really love
one
Rachel.
good
I think
episode.
she's the best New Era winner. Maybe that's a hot take, but
Extremely hot take. Challenge Challenge.
no,
Rachel?
yeah,
Not even close. You crazy? You
yes,
crazy? More than D?
yeah.
Gabler's a better winner than Rachel.
Gabler's a better winner than
Oh my god,
Rachel.
that is the worst take
Rachel's
ever.
maybe the worst New Era winner.
No, how? She won so much of the jury. She tied this record, which, like, maybe you don't care about physical things, but, like, that matters. And, like, she made it to the end as a threat, as a known threat on the minority from the beginning of the
No,
merge.
no. She wasn't a threat until like halfway through the merge. No one gave a crap about her before that. She wasn't. They literally labeled a group. These are the threats that are the targets, and she wasn't a part of that group.
And she made it to the end with one of them, and she beat him so handedly. It was
That's true.
7-1-0. So, like, who was the real threat of that
But he
season?
ran the
No,
pre-merge.
it was not Sam, and it wasn't Genevieve, and it certainly was not Andy. That was his name, right?
Andy.
Sam
Andy
Phelan
was
ran
the
the pre-merge.
bright
That's okay. We're good.
bright light of
Anyway, we
season
don't need to
47.
rehash 47, but I am
If I'm ranking
100%
Rachel,
disagreeing with
Gabler,
you on
and
that.
Savannah, Savannah's lower than both of them, by the way, because she's like Rachel, where she comp beasted her way to the end. I've never respected that as a valid winning strategy. Well, it's
That's so
valid. Like,
stupid.
I've
Like,
never
I don't
respected it.
understand. Like, you got to get to the end how you got to get to the end. And I really like that Rachel made that part of her final statement was like, I didn't choose to play like this. This is what I had to do to make it here.
She didn't have to convince me. She had to convince her jury, and she did, you know. But I think that anytime somebody's a challenge beast, whether it's Chris Underwood or
She also played an idol
Savannah,
correctly.
that's when I,
Like,
you
if you're
know,
comparing Rachel v. Savannah, I feel like this is like totally missing a huge part of the game. Everyone did not like Savannah. She won in spite of that. Everyone really liked Rachel, and she won because of that. Like, if you're just trying to compare, like, oh, they were both physical players and they both were working through the bottom, like, just
But
different situations.
Savannah had moments she could have been taken out. Rachel never did. They said as soon as the moment said we want to vote out Rachel, she won immunity or played an idol every single time after that.
Which is
Savannah
impressive.
was vulnerable at 7, vulnerable technically at 4. I think vulnerable at 8. She had
Can you
moments.
argue that some of these players were really bad players that should have gotten her out at 7?
I would have.
I would
But,
argue
you
that
know,
47 had really good players that all took each other out, and it left like the lamest one at the end to win.
No. She was not a lame player. She was such a good player. She beat this alleged threat, Sam, by a landslide. Like, that's
But
important to know.
but it's because the jury already made up their minds, and they all said that Sam had a way better pitch at the end. And we're like, maybe we should vote for Sam, but it's too late. We already made up our minds.
The thing is, you don't really make up your mind till you write a name. And so what that tells you is that Sam's final was so good that he was already so far behind that it didn't matter.
we're losing
And I
the
like
thread
Sam.
here.
We've
I
lost the
know
plot.
he was not going
We're
to win that
losing the
season,
thread.
like, ever.
We're losing the thread. All I said was Savannah, Rachel, Gabler. That's all I said.
Losing my mind over here. Anyway, sorry, North. We're probably taken away from your channel. We should get to the edge.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's hop into the Edgic of the finale episode 13 for our final 5 here. We'll just start off at the bottom and go all the way to the top. We have Christina, who gets 5th place here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, let's look at the confessionals. She gets 4 confessionals, but I mean, she's only in like an hour, right? I felt like honestly, she had semi big. I don't know, if big is the right word, but like she had the whole thing where she was convincing Sophie and Rizzo to flip, maybe, and then they didn't. But like, honestly, I felt like it was more we saw from her than a lot of other episodes. I don't know.
I don't know if this is just like way out there because like obviously like her conversations were not super memorable, but her in that challenge was hilarious. All these giant falls and like her crying, I was like, I want to give her an OTT just because of this specific
That's
challenge.
true. I
I
forgot
thought she
the
hurt
multiple
herself.
times she fell down and hurt. I can't believe she kept going.
She
When
kept going and then she fell on the barrel.
I thought she hurt
When she
herself.
fell in
I
the
really-
barrel and like slammed her head on the barrel, I was like, oh, well, surely she's done now. And then she got back up. I was like, wow, that's impressive.
I think that's been her whole story, right? And so they kind of full circled her with when she falls down, she gets back up. I think she had a relatively positive episode, even though some viewers didn't like her jury speech. I liked it. So I don't know if she was the most visible person in the finale by any means, just by being in only part of it. But I would give her like a middle of the road positive, I think.
You're right about the jury question. That does make me wonder, like, it kind of made her be like, it kind of painted her a little bit as a villain, I guess. Like, because given that Savannah wins, is gonna like, well, Christina, you're trying to tear her down a little bit, So maybe we go middle of the road mixed on it.
Sure.
I'm not against the over the top mixed if you want to fight for it, Josiah.
I mean, you could argue that jury speech was memorable, which is what over the top kids do.
All right.
And it's an unusual rating, which she's gotten before. So
Yeah,
Over the top mixed.
over the top mixed 3, maybe even a 2. I feel like that's appropriate. So then Rizzo. I feel like I had a lot of content early on in the episode. A lot of we saw multiple scenes of him doing his classic crying, whiny voice of like, I just gotta win $1 million. What else did he do? I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
I think that they clearly want us to like Rizzo, given that he's going to be on 50. I think this was a positive send off for Rizzo. I do like Rizzo, but I think they want us to like Rizzo. I think they show us the emotional moments that he has to try to give him some layers and make it so he's not like a one-dimensional, silly, goofy guy. And I think he's, relatively complex. I think I would probably give him a positive complex read on this finale.
I don't know. I think him failing to get Sage out instead of Christina, like that wasn't a huge part of like the final jury, but that felt like the last strategic moment of this season where it's like, is Savannah going to get her way or is Rizzo going to get her way? It's the first time this whole show that they've diverged in opinion and they let Savannah get her way. He didn't play his idol on Christina. He misplayed his idol. And then he didn't even start a fire like at all. So like his fire performance was really bad. I can't possibly think that's a positive leaning episode for him.
I mean, like losing fire isn't like that negative edit. That's just like a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's just part of what happened. Like his fire performance was really bad, and like his other performances were really bad. And like I know the edit isn't about like challenge performance, but like I can't think that he had a positive leaning episode. Yes, I agree with you. The show wants to hype him up for 50. They unnecessarily included a scene of the final 3 talking about, oh, Rizzo should play again, as if he's not.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Like, this is crazy. But like, I don't know. I think like you have to argue that like if he had gotten his way, would he have potentially not been put in fire because he had a closer relationship with Christina? Maybe not, but like there's a different way where he could have, done something different at the beginning of the episode and not been 4th place. He could have made it to the end and won. And I think that's a result of his actions and his inactions to fight against Savannah.
I agree that he could have handled this episode differently and improved his chances of winning. I'm just trying to read into how the editors want us to feel about him. And I think they want us to feel positively. I don't think they made a big deal out of him missing an opportunity to
No,
play his idol on Christina, despite that definitely being maybe a missed opportunity. You know, like they didn't highlight that. They highlighted the other things. Like you said, like Rizzo should play again. He's such a good player. They like left that in the episode. So that's why I think positive. But I do
I
think
think
we
it.
made mistakes. Yeah.
He gets 9 confessionals here. I think it's like, you could say it's close to a mix, but I do think that like in ways that it maybe highlighted Sophie being like, "Oh no, I missed my shot. I messed up." I don't like it. Never highlighted that with Rizzo, even if you thought that based on how you analyzed the game. I do think like, I tried to make it. If anyone had a positive episode, I think it was Rizzo.
Okay, fair.
More than anyone else. So
You were not
think-
manipulated by the editors as they wished.
Yeah, me personally, not manipulated by the
Josiah
Rizzo.
sees through the lies. Sage here, we'll take a look. I mean, she does get 10 confessionals, which, I mean, I feel like the confessionals are probably going to be a little bit askew because, like, the final 3 are going to have, like, probably
Sure.
12 confessionals at, like, that little moment right before they leave. But I feel like this was a up and down episode for Sage. She gets a decent amount. I mean, I feel like I thought Christina was going out 5th between her and Sage because I felt like she got more content prior to that vote. And then for the final 4, Sage got pretty much nothing. It was all about the trio. And then, I mean, we do see her a little bit more, you know, once they reach the final 3, but I don't think it's a ton. And I feel like this was, I mean, there were some positive aspects, but overall, a pretty negative episode for Sage.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I was thinking middle of the road negative. I don't think they painted Sage in like a good light. And I don't know if like this is just her vernacular, but I feel like she said the word crap like 10 times this episode. I'm just like, wait, where's this coming from? Where she's just like saying all these negative things, and I'm like, okay, interesting. So
She loves talking about poop.
She does.
They don't even pay attention to Sage during the challenges. I couldn't tell you how convinced I was there was no chance she was going to win any of these challenges. I was like, where'd she go? I feel like she just disappears during those.
That's happened before in the season too. That I was like, oh, I forgot Sage was even here. Like I feel like last week I thought the same thing.
And there's only 4 people in this challenge. Like you can't show me what Sage is doing during this challenge just a little bit. I agree. Once she got through her final 5, they did not give us anything of value. They gave her kind of the service that you have to give someone in the final 3. Like you have to give them a couple of confessionals where they say what they're planning to say. But it was not very compelling, I think, for us or for the jury. And so they want to show us why she lost, and they want us to be excited that Savannah won, so they have to give her a little bit of a negative edit.
I think I'll go middle of the road, -3 on it.
I like Sage, though. I think that she's much more clever and controlled than a lot of people viewed her. The one huge mistake she made was getting too revenge-seeky, and instead of taking out Savannah, taking out Sophie. If she takes out Savannah there instead, like you said, there's always going to be a what if in Survivor if you have one vote go a different way, but I think that was a really, really critical vote where she lost the game.
Yeah, I agree. Although I don't know if I understand your assessment right, because I do think that time in the game, she had more resentment towards Savannah than she did to Sophie. And maybe they just didn't paint that episode through Sage's lens, but like I think if she was to be vindictive, she would have gotten rid of Savannah, and instead she was trying to play logically, but like the logical move was not to get rid of Sophie.
No, but the point is that she should have been more vindictive against Savannah, and I said this in my thing, but she wasn't. The whole episode was, I'm getting revenge against Sophie. How dare she betray me and vote out Joanna? I'm getting my like that was the whole plot.
Okay,
of the
you're
episode.
right. I forgot.
And
about
it was
that,
like,
that.
What? Why? Savannah's your enemy. Why? What are you doing? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense strategically or narratively. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Me when I'm on Survivor and I forget what narrative I'm supposed to be doing.
it it felt like she was trying to like paint a narrative to me that I was like, but this doesn't even make sense. Like, it felt like she was painting this narrative. I'm like,
I think
that doesn't
everybody,
work.
looks back on their missed opportunities in Survivor if they don't win, and I think she will continue to look back on that vote.
But I agree, definitely not the worst third placer we've had. I think she had a lot of positives to her game, but I do think, and I think, I mean, Steven did vocalize what a lot of people have been saying in the final council of, we had a 7-3 majority lead, and we literally lost it and went into the negative. That's crazy. Like, that's absurd that happened.
People love, especially jurors, love to point fingers and feel like they played the best possible game and other people fucked it up for them. And I've been there. I get it. But also, like, maybe you should have connected with Sage a little bit more and convinced her a little bit more, or made a more appetizing ally for her.
Yeah.
I don't blame anyone who makes it to the end of this game. Maybe she could have done things a little differently, but throwing stones at the person that betrayed you and ended up at Final Tribal Council, I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say I do think Sage was really screwed probably before 7. I think even if she does get rid of Savannah, she loses to both Sophie and Steven, and that means she needs to get rid of them the next 2 times, which is like difficult working with that group of people, like all of a sudden switching and being like, well, my best chances are with Christina and Sophie who haven't been working together. Let's try to like, like it would have just been very difficult based on the way that the game had gone to that point and the fact that she never won immunity, so she was always never safe, for her to really have like improved that much. But anyway, that's just my take on that.
I think that this was not the truth, but in a vacuum, I think the best answer to like Steven's question about like why'd you flip on us and get us all wrong would have been, I was never with you guys. I was loyal to my Uli people, and I got to the end and I fooled all you. You thought that you guys had the majority with me, but you didn't. I wasn't part of your majority. You're wrong, and I played you, right? I think that's probably the only way to answer that question that like makes it a little bit make sense more to like makes it be like, well, I'm pissed at you, but I guess if you were never with me, then I guess I can't be that pissed at you. But that wasn't true, so it didn't make sense. She could have lied about it, but
he seemed bitter when he was on the jury. Just the facial expressions he was making and stuff, which like I get it, but also. And I do want better jurors, to be clear. I love it when people are upset on the jury. But I was like, really, Steven? Like, it's been a couple of votes. Chill out. You've had a couple days.
It's been like 48 hours. Like, when I feel like you always find that the most bitter person is that like final 5, final 6 person where they were voted off just before. You have to remember with the short game, like this is not very much time for him to process much of this.
That's true.
Okay. Sophie in this episode, she does get the most confessionals of the episode, shockingly, with 15. I feel like she was, pretty involved. We heard her talk about like, I was very confused because last episode the story was God has told me to go to the final 3 with Savannah and Rizzo. And then the beginning of this episode was, rats! I was going to flip on Savannah at 5, and now I can't because she won immunity. And it was like, really? The plotline last episode was God gave you a message to not do that. So that was just like a confusing edit to me. I also felt like it became very clear that Sophie wasn't going to win, specifically in the confessional from Savannah, where she was like, I can't believe that Sophie's going off on her own and isn't even hearing me and Rizzo out. And basically, the like message of that confessional was Sophie is a fake friend and a jerk to like for doing this. I was like, oh well, Sophie's not going to win if she's being called like a fake friend and a bad player here in the last moments. So
I mean, yes, but she was called that by Savannah, who was also in the final. So like it wasn't like Savannah was a juror who was going to be bitter at Sophie. And also we've seen Savannah like hold these really weird grudges and have these really weird like arguments with people before. So I don't think as a viewer we were supposed to read into that, oh, Sophie is being a bad friend. We were supposed to read, oh, Savannah is not a great person to be around, and she is vindictive and she's very quick to turn on her opinion on people. Like, I don't think that moment really painted Sophie in a bad way. I think if I was to try to describe Sophie's conflict this season, it was a conflict between head and heart. She seemed to have a really big heart connection with both Savannah and Rizzo and some other people, but her head was telling her, I can't beat these people, and I need to try to eventually get rid of Savannah. And she just was not able to ever get rid of Savannah, which I think is why she didn't win. Because I think if she had gotten rid of Savannah, she probably would have won in most combinations of those final jurors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that she played a pretty impressive game. But when you become close allies with public enemy number one, and then you don't betray them at the end of the game, it's a tried and true method to get second or third place in Survivor. And I think she watched herself falling into that pattern. But it's easier said than done to turn your back on somebody that you've been, really growing to connect with. And not everybody's got that killer instinct that makes them a Survivor winner. A lot of them end up being a Survivor finalist because they lack the ability to do that at the end. I think she was one final five vote for Savannah, away from having a real chance to win this game too. I agree. So like I said earlier, you just got to put yourself in a position where you've got a chance to win, and the chips may not fall your direction, but she's another person who really had a shot to win this season. I'd rather see her back than Savannah on season 50 if I had to pick between the two of them. I think she's a very engaging story. And I connected with, the underdog plot that they were giving her throughout the entirety of the game. And I don't really have anything negative to say about Sophie. And as far as the actual, letters go, I think she was complex, certainly throughout the ending of the finale. I think she got a generally positive, other than that moment that you were talking about. I think maybe some people would read her going off and focusing on her own as negative. I think she got a generally positive reception by the viewers and the jury, and I'd like to see her again at some point.
I think you're right. I think if Savannah doesn't win that final five immunity, if she leaves there, then presumably Christina beats Rizzo in fire making, and I think Sophie probably sweeps the jury, honestly. I mean, she was very close. I think, again, it's the problem. It's the same problem of without, going too much in Australia versus the world, I was saying about that season, that's like, okay, it works if you're gonna flip, then you can flip. But you can't flip on the biggest challenge beast of the season, right? If they're going to win. Like, that is part of the game. You can't forget about that. Sometimes you have to flip sooner than that.
Yeah.
And I think that was just the problem here. That it was like, well, Savannah's the biggest challenge beast. You're not going to be able to do it. So I would probably say complex personality mixed. I do think that there was both that negative stuff about her going on the beach, and also I felt like there were moments of being like, I've missed my shot. I've messed up. Like I could have done a thing and I didn't. I made the wrong decision, basically. That led her to make it clear why she lost. There were a lot of positives as well, but I'm thinking probably a complex personality mixed.
Yeah, they want us to be rooting for Savannah over Sophie, so that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I don't know about that last statement. I feel like the editors made it very difficult to want to root for Savannah.
I mean, and I think Savannah made it difficult. I think they tried to give her everything they could, but they can only use her words, man.
That might be true.
I think the editors did a good job.
Finale with a lot of my really casual friends, including a friend who this is their first season ever of Survivor, who loves this season. So I'm like, okay, obviously we disagree with a lot here. And going into the finale, she was like, I think either Rizzo or Sage is going to win. I'm like, okay. Like, okay. And even after the final tribal, she's like, I think Sophie's going to win. I'm like, okay. Like,
I thought Sophie might win off of Final Tribal as well. She kind of had the Gabler effect at Final Tribal.
Yeah, I agree.
Where she was making the jury laugh. I don't blame that too much. I mean, talking about Savannah, I think that the editors personally did a very good job of making Savannah very rootable, maybe despite her being a villain. Obviously, she was painted very villainously, and it has a lot of negative ratings, but I mean, I I started the season not having Savannah as my favorite, and I ended the season thinking Savannah was my favorite, and I wanted her to win, and I was excited by it. My mom wanted Savannah to win. She said Savannah was her clear favorite. I mean, like, if you could get like moms to be rooting for the villain, like the people they call the mean girl the whole time, to want to win, that's pretty impressive. I mean, I think that they did a pretty good job with her at it, all things considered.
Like I said, they can only show what people say about her and what she says about herself. And I think they were exceptionally selective with that. I think people said many, many, many more things about Savannah that we didn't see. And I also think that they like included any positive moment she had of connection and like being a good person. And I'm sure she is a good person, but she comes off intense, and that's okay. I love a villain on Survivor,
Yeah.
but moms don't always, so they have to edit.
It's impressive. So I'm trying to think in terms of like tone for the finale for Savannah. I honestly I'd probably go maybe just the exact same rating as Sophie. I feel like there were positives and negatives here. I feel like it was, they made her rootable. They made her like kind of emotional. Like, I can't believe Sophie's turning her back on me. She talked a lot about loyalty in the finale and how she's a loyal player. But then obviously, Christina's jury question was painted very negatively for her. She's a villain. But
yeah,
I'm fine with mixed.
I think mixed makes the most sense because, I mean, she did win the game at the end of the day. How can you probably give someone negative if they win at their last episode? But yeah, I mean, I just don't think there was a lot of positivity to Savannah's edit at all, like the whole season. And I think even that last moment, it painted her as entitled. It was like, wow, I can't believe she's going to put me onto fire when like she only gets to save one person and you are clearly the biggest threat of this game. Like, how is she not going to put you on fire? Like, are you so delusional that you think that your bond is like more than any kind of strategic thought that Sophie has? Like, it just, I don't think Savannah was someone that naturally an audience would gravitate toward. I agree with you, North. I actually liked her. I like villains, and I think she had a triumphant end, making it through all of these challenges and all these obstacles to win. But it definitely is a weird win because we haven't really seen a player like this win. Maybe ever, but like certainly in a long time. I'm trying to think of any comparable like winners where a majority of the jury does not like this person and probably does not want to speak with them again.
I mean, Brian Heineck, I guess.
If I'm a juror and I don't like the person, everyone gets to vote based on what matters to them. If I don't like you, I'm not giving you my vote. Sorry. Yeah. Even if you played an awesome game, because everybody that gets to the final three for the most part had to do something game-wise. I'm going to vote for someone who I'm proud to lift up as the winner of my season. That's just my take. Like, who I want to go to the events with and take photos with and stay in touch with. But everybody gets, their own perspectives there. And she clearly connected with some people. Like, she was able to develop really deep bonds with a couple of people. Though I will think Sophie's debate wasn't about whether she put Savannah on fire. I think she was trying to decide if she put Rizzo in. Because I think that was what she was actually thinking about. So Savannah was like, how dare you? It's like, you're not even in the conversation, girl. Like, go work on your fire.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Nate and Rizzo and both Sophies seem to really like Savannah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think Nate was absolutely rooting for Savannah the whole time on the jury. I think Sophie seemed like a big Savannah fan on the jury. So, I mean, sure, there were people that didn't like her, but like the people that got her,
Mm-hmm.
So
you only need to win a majority of the jury votes. You don't need everybody to like you. So,
absolutely.
So there we are, all of the Edgic ratings for the season, finally done. We've been talking for quite a bit here, so I feel like we mostly recapped feelings on the season and whatnot. Do you guys have anything else on the season at large before we talk about 50 that you want to touch on? Any major plot threads or anything?
Who's the person with the most over the tops over the course of the whole season? Is it Steven?
Steven gets a few at the end, but not much overall. Honestly,
Jawan.
it's probably
Jawan has 3, right? And Christina has 3.
I
Jawan
just
has
always find that
3,
interesting.
Rizzo has 2, Christina has 5. Christina,
Oh, so it's Christina for sure.
Yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
Which makes sense, honestly.
Hmm.
Christina's edit was all over the place, but when she did get content, it was over the top content.
yeah, it was, yeah. I
She
don't.
earned her content.
She had one complex personality the entire season. It was always bouncing back and forth between
Yeah, yeah.
the other
I
ratings.
like the
So
trends. The trends are very interesting, I think.
yeah,
Yeah. I wish I liked Survivor 49 more. I am just really, really not a fan of this season. Right before this, I was trying to figure out where on my ranking of seasons I put it. I think I'm settling on 43 out of 49 seasons, which is obviously
Oh,
pretty low. um,
wow, that's
and
pretty
I
low.
think that would be my second lowest New Era season. So I don't know. I wish I connected more with these people, and it did seem kind of like Samoa in a sense, where they were like knowing who they had from the beginning on the next season, and this entire season was just a preview for Savannah and Rizzo Part Two.
yeah.
Um, and so that was unfortunate. I think the strategy lacked. I think the pre-merge, Carson, I don't know what you saw in there. It was boring. It was so boring. The 90 minutes dragged, and all the previews were like sharing who was going to be voted out
Yeah,
That was
that was
next.
tough.
It
really
was
bad.
just
That was
like
bad.
a lot of things that just made this
Yeah.
excitement for the season crash. And I don't know how online you guys are, but I feel like I've seen so little praise for this season online. And personally, I know people who have stopped watching Survivor, or at least stopped watching Survivor 49 while it has been airing. So I just think this was a really poor attempt if Jeff is trying to expand its audience and trying to build new fans.
We'll get to that.
So that's my take on 49. Not trying to be super negative, but this one for me did not hit at all. And if I wasn't already 49 seasons deep, I would reconsider watching the show. There are other shows which I enjoy so much more than the show currently.
Okay,
I
Mr.
think
Amazing
that
Race.
that's so funny. 49. It's the same issue I have with all of these new era seasons we've had in a row. In a vacuum, 49. If it's my first season watching it, like your friend, I think it was fun. I think that the medevac was interesting and the blue tribe dynamics, and I think that it was a kind of up in the air, um, you know, early jury phase. However, the circumstances surrounding the season are I knew who was coming back for 50, and I've seen the exact same format 9 seasons in a row. I know there have been the most minor of changes, but that's part of what makes it such a drag is because it's
Mm-hmm.
so familiar and we're not mixing it up at all. So
Mm-hmm.
my take on this is similar to some of my other takes on the newer era seasons, which is that in a vacuum, I think it was an entertaining season. Given that I watch these live twice a year and I watch the same thing twice a year, it's tough. It's really tough. Survivor needs to make some pretty big changes for its viewers that are, getting kind of dealt this hand all the time. The thing I'm most excited about for season 50, 24 players.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's so much new era fatigue.
Yeah.
And I think personally that's why I just don't really like this show anymore. Is like not only is it not like super delivering with the cast or the strategy, and I'm not really seeing anything new, but on top of that, I'm just seeing the same thing again and again and again and again. And there's no real differentiating between these seasons. There's no themes. And a lot of the cast very much, we're still comparing people to the people in the past. That's what happens when a season runs for so
Yeah.
long. I understand it's hard to get genuinely unique and new individuals, but like we shouldn't be saying, oh, Steven is like Charlie or Sage is like Carolyn. Like we shouldn't be saying these kind of things.
Yeah.
And so yes, 50 is very exciting. We haven't had a returning player season in a long time, and I love returning player seasons. I love the fact that the cast is going to be bigger. But I'm also apprehensive with the Mr. Beast of it all.
I think to wrap up my thoughts on 49, I think that I think a lot of what you guys said are right. I will say, like, when we finally got a new era season with different type of gameplay and story last season, y'all hated that too. So I mean, make up your mind. You want, do you want difference or do you want the same? I mean, you don't like either, I guess. But I think that this season, for the most part, I don't think it does anything too different than a lot of other new era seasons. I think that the production had some interesting choices. We did go down to 2 tribes. We forget about that. That was, I mean, a good thing, but those episodes kind of sucked, unfortunately. And so, like, there was some good stuff here. I think that, like, as far as the format goes, I think it's probably one of the better formatted seasons of the new era. I just don't think it was like enough of a difference to make it stand out a whole lot from other new era seasons. And I think the gameplay kind of ended up not being that dissimilar to other new era seasons. You know, we kind of end up with a merge that's not that dissimilar to like 44, you know, with the kind of trio. Jeff does his whole speech at the beginning of the finale where he's like, this season we started off being super loyal and then the merger went crazy and tribal lines were gone. And I was like, huh? I didn't get that at all. I felt like this was like the story of this small group of 3 plus 4, if you include Nate, that were incredibly loyal to each other, and everyone else kind of just like floundered and played badly, and this incredibly loyal group ran the ship to the end. Like, that's, I didn't think it was like this crazy all over the place season, really. So I like 48 more. I defended the season at the time. I think it had more interesting moments and like kind of unique aspects than this season. I would probably rank it 3rd from the bottom, new era maybe. I do think that there were people on the season I did like a lot. I really enjoyed the Trace Leche. I really enjoyed Nate and the other Sophie added on to Trace Leche. I think Jawan had some really fun moments. I do think there were really fun characters on this season. I do think the edit of this season was pretty bad. I think this is definitely the 2nd worst edited season of the new era after 41. I think by a long shot. I think 41 was like such a badly edited season, and I think that this season really gives it a run for its money. But there was some good stuff here that I did still enjoy. So,
North, I just want to ask, when you say edit of the season, and you can pull up the confessional count if you think that's helpful, but like, what do you find about this season is edited not well? Because I do think, for whatever it's worth, the last 3, 4, 5 episodes were very evenly edited in the fact that like it was like pretty divided among the people. I do think just from before that, and also us knowing about Savannah and Rizzo, it was maybe less edited that way. But
yeah.
it's like some people like Christina, I didn't want to see more of her, so I don't know if like the edit was equitable. If it would be better. So I'm like, what's
right.
for you who qualifies as
You're
like
right.
a good edit or a bad edit season?
I think that, I mean, a lot of it does come from the pre-merge. I think original Hina is one of the like least visible tribes ever. Like, it was so clear that not a single person from that tribe is going to be relevant to this main story at all, that it just set up the whole rest of this season to be like, we're clearly only supposed to care about like the Trace Leches and the people vaguely adjacent to them, and it's like the, have you ever seen the meme that's like, oh, who is it? It's like there's some person, it's like Ludacris or something, like or adjacent to Ludacris is depression, and it's like the kids that are really close to Ludacris are happy, and like the further away you get from Ludacris, they get like really sad.
What the hell are you talking about?
I don't know this meme.
This is a weird. I don't even know if it's Ludacris. It's some meme. It's some person. But
Somebody find that and link it in the comments so I can see it.
The basic idea is that the point of the metaphor was that it was like, you care about the Trace Leche, and like the further and further you get from the Trace Leche, the less you're supposed to care about those people at all, right? And so like the people that were like so disconnected, like Christina, nothing, absolutely nothing at all. I mean, like MC also to that extent. Alex really fell off at a certain point. Steven did get a little bit more like at the end, but still was pretty far off for a while. I think that like the previews always telegraphed who was going home the next episode. I think there were a lot of votes that I were influenced a little bit by knowing who was on 50, but I think there was also times that the edit still made it pretty clear. Even if I didn't know who was on 50, that I talked about, like, I think like the Nate vote was one, like, if I didn't know who was on 50, I would have been surprised by that. But there were other times where it was like between like Savannah and someone else, or Rizzo and someone else, and I was like, it's definitely not going to be the Trace Leche person. They're clearly the more important storyline here. It's so kind of telegraphed. So yeah, I think just a lot of like obvious aspects in the edit. I also just don't think there were really like very many fun edit moments. We didn't really get like an Operation Italy, or like a hide and seek, and sometimes it's just the characters aren't doing that. Like, I guess we got 3 boys on a bench. That was something. But like, yeah, if the characters aren't giving you fun stuff to edit, then there's nothing you can do. I just felt like there wasn't like that many compelling edits this season.
We just need a major shift. 50 needs to set the standard that we're allowed to do different cast sizes, and we're allowed to do different tribe dynamic sizes. Because at a fundamental level, if they just start switching it up again on the tribe size format, it will be way less exhausting, because we won't have the exact same size alliance running every single pre-merge tribe. It's always 4. We won't have the one tribe that loses so bad that they're out of it, and then the other 2 go to war at the merge. We just need fresh dynamics, and you need to create a new setting in order to do that. Which hopefully in 51 they go 2 tribes of fucking 10. I would love to see 2 tribes of 10 again. It's been a long time.
Absolutely. And I don't know how this is really going to be remedied unless you like literally fire Jeff Probst, but I want exciting tribal councils. Tribal councils are so boring. Yeah. And I think a huge part of that is that Jeff gets what he likes out of it, and what he likes is not what the audience likes. And maybe I shouldn't be so harsh on a brand new contestant here, but like, to me, Steven was like one of my least favorite contestants of the entire new era. And the reason was because all he did was talk in metaphors. Every single confessional, every single tribal council, even in his final tribal speech, he would use the metaphor. And I'm like, stop with the metaphors. Like, why is our show just about comparing to something else? Like, it should be on its own, something that can stand. And so I don't know if that's like a casting thing, or just like Jeff needs a little bit of caffeine or something, but like, I want him to bring a little bit of pep to these tribal councils, to make it a little bit more about the moment where Savannah asked Christina straight up, who are you voting for? And she's so uncomfortable. Like, that was a good moment because it was combative and it was direct, and there is no directness. Everything is a metaphor or something grand which cannot relate to this game. And so I need that last moment of the show, of each episode, to matter and to be interesting. Because at one point, those were the best moments of the show. If you think about like the golden era of Survivor, some of the best moments were from those tribal councils, whether they were interpersonal conflict or there were some like interesting idol plays. There were like really good things happening. Yeah. And I can't remember the last just like regular tribal council that was like super fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, they like their live tribals now. They like their advantage get-ins now. It's a difference in expectations and tone, right? And that starts from an executive producer perspective.
Yeah.
I think the Mary Mary Shot in the Dark tribal last season was pretty good. That was a pretty exciting one. But
remember Mary?
Yeah.
I don't remember that Shot in the Dark.
The Justin Booth. That was a good one. We can trust your players to give you more, poke and prod them to give you more, and then give them new settings to really develop new ideas within. Because we've already figured out what works best in 3 Tribes of 6. I know exactly what I would do if I went out there and 3 Tribes of 6, and it would work because it's worked 4 times.
Remember when David stood up on the jury? I mean, that was good.
That was awesome. Trust your players.
That was more exciting than anything that happened at maybe any tribal council this season.
I laughed my ass off. I thought that was so cringe. But I love cringe. So
So, anyways, all that said, all that about Survivor the format. Moving on, season 50, we get
oh
the
yeah.
preview. How we feeling about the what we're seeing from 50 right now?
I really didn't expect to have the like actual emotional reaction I did when they panned up and I saw Colby. And I was like, oh my God, he is older now, but that's him. And I really, when the cast list first came out, I was one of the people who's like, I don't need to see Colby again. But when I actually saw him in the teaser, I was like, I think I'm going to enjoy watching Colby again in this new format with these new faces.
Mm-hmm.
The introduction felt like a Survivor Australia intro a little bit.
Yeah.
They're rolling their suitcases. We're like seeing a piece of them here, there. I was like, ooh, I like this artistic direction that we're going with the trailer here. I hope they have that in the episode. I'll let Josiah talk about the Mr. Beast of it all.
You just want me to be the bad cop
I
on
don't.
this. Okay. No,
Survivor.
it's okay. I can continue your thought, Carson.
Yeah.
I was also kind of not expecting to be so excited because my interest in Survivor has waned so much. But honestly, seeing Colby, seeing Cerie, seeing a lot of these big faces again on the sand, it did bring back a lot of nostalgia and just like a lot of appreciation for what the show has now that it's been 25 years. And then the last 15 seconds of that were just like, oh, what are we doing here? I was not expecting to see Zach Brown on Survivor. And I was especially not expecting to see Mr. Beast there. So, yeah, they, curveballed at the end. And I think that might be indicative of what the season is, where a large portion of the season is devoted to the longtime fans and to bringing back these players and to rehashing these big moments and to making it, the biggest it has ever been. But there's this weird taste of like new era appealing to children, appealing to strange advantages that's going to infect the season. And so I just hope that the taste that I get at the end of 50 is one of enjoyment rather than one of like, what were these people thinking putting all these things together?
Listen, it's supposed to be in the hands of the fans, right? Do I wish we had say on many more things than the colors of the tribes? Yes. Are there a couple of things that I was excited we got to vote on? Even though they definitely phrased them in like super leaning questions. I thought it was a fun idea. And that it was in the hands of the fans. I'm glad we're probably getting a reunion. I'm glad we're probably not going to have Final Four fire making. Maybe I'm just an optimist, right? But I know everybody else is sick of seeing the exact same thing over and over again. So I think we're going to see the main thing that I care about, which is a different format, a different game this next season, which I'm excited about. I really hope that those confessionals that they pulled about Jimmy Fallon and Billie Eilish are just like, I really hope that they're just the players riffing and they're saying like fans voted for this, like this could be the Jimmy Fallon thing, like maybe he voted.
No.
That's my fingers crossed moment. But if it's actually like Jimmy Fallon and like Billie Eilish actually designed this idol, this isn't in the hands of the fans at all. It's in the hands of the celebrities, which will leave an incredibly bad taste in that theme for me, because I know that celebrities can watch and enjoy Survivor, but that's not what this was supposed to be about. I'm actually totally fine with you guys having like a random celebrity Survivor, like, side spin-off thing.
Yeah.
But if you're going to phrase it as in the hands of the fans, in the hands of the everyday people who've watched the show for ages, let us actually vote on the big decisions. Don't be like, oh, there's a Billie Eilish, idol, boomerang idol out there. I'm like, I don't give a crap what Billie Eilish thinks about Survivor. I want to see what the fans voted for Survivor. But yeah, I get that Survivor's always been, corporate. We had our Outback days, we had our car days, we had those types of moments. We distanced from it in a way that I enjoyed. I can see them returning to some of this corporatization. They were like, ooh, Applebee's is back. And now they're like, ooh, here's Mr. Beast, who, yes, is like one of the most famous people in their trying to reach generation. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh, the corporations that they picked, I don't really like. Like, there's something silly about
I
Applebee's.
hate Applebee's. It's like my least favorite restaurant.
No, I thought Applebee's was kind of silly because it felt like Old Survivor. But when we're going to like Mr. Beast and Beast Games collab, I'm like, fine, let the Beast Games players go on to Survivor and do a couple days. I don't care if that like
Yeah.
makes people watch Survivor because they're watching Beast Games. That to me makes sense. But when you're actually bringing Mr. Beast and putting his logo on the coin that you like flip through
Yeah.
the air,
And it says Beast Games on it.
I'm like, why are we doing this? We let him have his show, and also Beast Games. You said this before the seasons or before we started recording. North Beast Games has had one season, and it is not popular, and it's not a very good game.
It's not. It's
like,
not even a successful show.
It's not even a successful show. Like, connect us with like Traders or Big Brother or Amazing Race or like these other CB. Maybe even if it was like
Bring
CBS
back Dondi.
shows. Like bring back Dondi! I've been saying that. Bring back Dondi! I love that show.
I fucking love that show.
Anyways, like if you're gonna connect with some other type of like we're bringing other fans in, I get why it's Mr. Beast. I don't like it. I would much rather see Alan show up on the island in his like full Scottish garb. But that's just me. And so, or like a housewife, or like someone from RuPaul's Drag Race, or something that I connect with a little bit more and have more fun watching versus Mr. Beast, who's like, sure, I can understand that he does like a lot of like projects that are supposed to help people, but also something's just off about him. I think in like my like heart of heart soul, there's just something off that I'm like, what's going on there? And I don't want that coming into my favorite show, my favorite like experience here. So we'll have to see how it goes. I really hope it's not overwhelmingly celebrities. They just punched it in the trailer to try to get their like people in, but it might be. It might be every episode we have a fucking celebrity show up and they say, hey, here's an idol and I'm bringing my fans onto the show to like watch it. And that would make me very sad for season 50. Do it at season 51 or something. I'd be annoyed, but it wouldn't be like ruining this monumental season, you know?
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like the Edge of Extinction on Winners at War was something that ruined the season or made it less good for you? Or was that a twist that you were able to just like stomach and be like, okay, this is fine. I'm just enjoying seeing all my favorite winners play this game? Because that season, in my opinion, was very much affected by that as a twist. Mm-hmm. I still like that season. I'd still say it's a top half season, but I think it had the potential to be like a top 5 season without that twist being in play. And so I wonder if this is kind of the same thing.
I think that, well, just to give my answer to that, the boot order that season, other than the winner, was so bad that at least we got to see the people on the Edge of Extinction. I think it would have been worse without Edge of Extinction, quite frankly. Because that was at least something to enjoy in some of those merge episodes. But I think that I want to retort about like the stuff. I think that, you know, Zach Brown carrying a fish onto the beach for a reward or whatever. Okay, I'll deal with it. Rick Devens saying it's the Billie Eilish boomerang idol made me want to shrivel up into dust. Like, oh my gosh. And then we see the coin with the and I was like, hold on. Did I see that correctly? Was that a Mr. Beast coin? And then Mr. Beast is there with the Mr. Beast logo. It says Beast Games on it. I'm like, it's one thing to have the cameo. I'm not going to say I like it, but I get it. You're trying to get people to watch the show. Okay. But then to like have it like directly tie in and to be like naming things in the game after these celebrities and after Beast Games, it's like that is not what this is about. And I just think it breaks the immersion to such an extent. Again, I've talked about this, that the new era, I think, has had this problem that it's gone so far into kind of just being a game show, and it doesn't have like that sense of adventure, like this Robinson Crusoe story like it used to have of what made Survivor stand out. And like I was hoping it would be fixed, but now 50 is like going even further extreme that it's like we're having freaking Mr. Beast out there with the Mr. Like it's like what is this anymore? Like how am I supposed to get immersed in this adventure when it's all like silly, goofy Jimmy Fallon decides my fate in the game? Like that's not the show anymore. That's like it's like it's beyond product placement. It's just like it's I don't know. It's like the freaking Lego movie. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But it's just like
Lego movie. Couldn't agree more, North.
It's just like it's like Ready Player One. Like look at all these things from this other thing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not here for that. I'm here for this thing. Like I'm not here for Mr. Beast. I'm here for Survivor. Like.
Right.
Yeah, and I think what your point is, and just connecting it to our earlier conversation, the show and the executive producer, they do not trust the show. They don't trust the people. You know, this could have been such a great season, and obviously it still might be. There's a bit of hope, but like they need to trust what they have.
Yep.
The reason you've been going on for 25 years is because you have a loyal fan base that likes the premise of different strangers playing together, having to vote each other off, but also having to be well liked enough that they win at the end. Like there's like this innate conflict that this show produces, and you can't manufacture it by adding some weird twists, and you can't manufacture it by like only casting this weird subset of the entire population where they will like do the game the way you want to do the game. Like it's just it's so frustrating. And yeah, I'm gonna try not to hold too much of that trailer up, but like we are gonna have a 3-hour premiere, which is way, way, way longer than we ever have had before. We're having 24 contestants, so there's gonna be a lot going on already.
It's already packed.
It's like, why are we trying to complicate something like that?
I will say
again, I'm going to have hope because this is exciting. This is an exciting moment. We have to recognize 50 seasons, 24 returning players, most of whom we are at least somewhat excited to see. Like this is good. But yeah, hopefully it is good.
I will say I do look forward to the confessional where Cerie's like, "Who the hell is this beast guy?"
Bro, I like Colby being there.
They always have a partnership with him.
Wait, Jared is on Beast Games. If anyone knows who Mr. Beast is, it's gonna be
well, then
Cerie.
maybe that confessional will come from Colby or someone else who's like not very in the reality TV.
Colby
sphere.
like leaning over to Riz God, being like, "Who's this guy?"
That would make me laugh so hard. And Riz is like, "Oh, that's Mr. Beast. He's epic, and his videos are cinema."
Not the cinema.
Yeah, I it's already too much for me, and I hope it's not more. If it's at the level that I'm at, you asked the question, Josiah, was Winners at War ruined? I didn't answer that quick. I think that the Edge of Extinction took the season and notched it down a couple for me too, but I was able to still enjoy the season more than many. And I imagine I'll still be in the same boat with season 50, where this could be a top 3 season in Survivor if it's an exciting one with the cast we got, but it probably won't be because Survivor's lost touch with the charm that made that golden era of Survivor so amazing. And I don't know that we're, for some long time you're going to get seasons that reach that peak. I can't remember the last one that made people feel like that. It might be David versus Goliath. This is the last one that people loved to the extent that they consider it a top 3, top 5 season. It's just hard to beat the nostalgia factor. And it's also hard to beat that those seasons, the format and the culture that we were in at the time was perfect for the show. And we're not in that culture anymore. And the executive producer team is running it in a different direction, trying to make this a family show. And I'd rather watch old Survivor, but I will still watch new Survivor because it's still the best show.
Yeah.
It's the best game. It's the best game that I like enjoying myself watching and experiencing and pretending that I would be good at.
They're letting they're letting Big Brother overtake though. They're letting it slip. When did Big Brother start producing more thematic and like interestingly produced seasons than Survivor. I don't know what happened, but if you watch like the last season of Big Brother, I mean, the gameplay was exciting. There were some bad twists, but like it had a theme. It had very like the look and feel of it was great. It was very distinct. Survivor is not doing it anymore. I don't know what happened, but we like our Freaky Friday here. But yeah, generally Survivor still classic. We're still gonna love it. I do still think this season could be very good. Maybe all this stupid celebrity stuff will be fine, and it'll just be like funny, quirky little things, and we'll forget about it. And when the final three is Suri and Coach and some other person, Rizgod, and we're gonna be celebrating and throwing gold off of the rooftops. I don't know, but I mean, who knows? It's tough to say. We'll get there when we get there, but.
Mr. Beast could run the challenges for all I care if Suri wins that season.
Mr. Beast, he'll let him host the season if Suri can win.
Here's a very, very terrible question. Do we think they're test driving audience response to Mr. Beast as some type of replacement host in the future?
I don't know. That totally could be the case because if they're looking for someone young, they're looking for someone who's going to bring in an audience.
He's got his own show though, and also
yeah, but his show is irrelevant. He could quit that show and step in for Jeff, and that's probably a good career move for him.
I don't know. He's bigger. He's way bigger than Survivor.
Yeah, he's bigger than Survivor.
So it'd be a downgrade for him, and that's the only reason I don't think they're doing it. But I'd rather have Jonathan as the next host.
If Dondi's gone, get Joe Manganiello.
Dondi's coming back. Dondi will
coming back.
I will make sure. Dude, Dondi rocked.
We believe.
Dondi was awesome.
Dondi was freaking I would have loved a Dondi crossover. If Joe shows up on that beach with the freaking briefcase, Mr. Beast has the briefcase. He's freaking ripping off Dondi. It would have been awesome.
I freaking love Dondi.
It was a modern classic. Did you watch Dondi?
No, I'm not part of this conversation.
It's really good. It's really good.
It's okay. It's canceled, so I don't need to care about it.
It's really kitschy. It's really... the strategy's not that bad, but it's really kitschy. And I liked that they didn't take themselves too seriously.
But, yeah. So, we'll see. Excited for 50. I do agree. I think there was still some good moments in the trailer. The shots of the original people was really good. I might make some other videos talking more in depth about the trailer. We'll see. But yeah, any other thoughts? 50, 49, Survivor at large.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad to be back.
I really don't like the show, but I do love talking about the show. So the fact that you give me an audience at all, I'm very appreciative of.
Yeah, feel free to sound off in the comments if you thought my takes were really good today. If you didn't, go ahead and not do that.
Well, everyone, that's all we got for you. So thank you so much for watching, especially if you stuck it out. This ended up going a lot longer than I expected it to, but it was a lot of fun to talk through the whole thing. Carson and Josiah had a lot of fun thoughts and discussion to be had over the course of this. If you enjoyed, please press the subscribe button and click the bell to be notified of my future uploads. I will be back for Survivor 50 doing Edgic and predicting the contenders of the season all season long. I will also hopefully be back in coming weeks in the off season to talk about maybe some more Survivor 50 related stuff before the season comes out. Maybe even talk about some other things. We'll see what we got, but I do have some things in the pipeline hopefully. But whether you watch those or not, we'll be back. I hope to see you back for Survivor 50. It's going to be epic. Big time. Hope you enjoyed the season. Hope you enjoyed the coverage. I've gotten some really, really nice comments over the course of this season that I really appreciated. So thank you all for sticking it out with me and coming back every week. That's pretty much all I got. Congrats, Savannah. Congrats to us for the epic predictions. And I will see you all next time. Stay frosty, y'all.